So in the history of this page, we've talked about a lot of ninja villages, specifically the hidden leaf, the hidden sand, the hidden cloud, and the hidden rain. And because we've talked about all of these villages, people often reach out wanting one particular village to be covered. I'll give you one hint as to what that village could be. Here's the hint, it's on my forehead. Yeah, today we're gonna be talking about the Hidden Mist. You see, the Hidden Mist throughout the duration of Naruto stood out as one of the more interesting villages. This was a village that had both the 7 swordsmen of the mist, the Hazuki clan, a clan capable of turning their bodies into water, the Blood Mist village, and the first Jinchuriki as a Kage. And while all of this may make you think that the Hidden Mist is interesting and cool and maybe even fun to live in, today's video is to tell you that it is exactly the opposite of that. You see, I know we've done a video saying the worst village in Naruto, which was the Hidden Sand. But in actuality, the worst village in Naruto is unequivocally Hidden Mist. So I'm going to use this video for 2 things. 1, to teach you the history of the Hidden Mist, and 2, to teach you why it would be so uniquely awful to live there. Before we get into proving any points, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And while you're at it, if you're feeling particularly generous, I have 2 other YouTube pages. First of which is called NC Gamer 23, where instead of talking anime, I play video games like Subnautica or horror games like The Quarry. And then we also just created a brand new YouTube page called Hammer's Collection, where I unbox anime statues like that one. The Hidden Mist, the home of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, Zabuza, Kisame, Yagura, the first Jinchuriki Kage. Sounds pretty cool, right? Well, unfortunately, it's not. And we know that largely from light novels. See, while some of the information I'm going to be talking about today does come from both the anime and the manga, a lot of the information we know about the Hidden Mist village comes from Konawae, the light novel, Akatsuki, the light novel, and the first novel of Boruto. But actually, we have a while until we get to the points that any of those light novels bring up, because we're going to start this video in the way that we usually start these videos, at the beginning. The Hidden Mist was founded like all other ninja villages after the Uchihas and the Senjus decided to make Konoha. It was founded by the first Mizukage, Byakuren, who was said to have an incredibly high IQ, actually the highest of the first round of Kage. Outside of that, we don't know a lot about Byakuren. We don't know his abilities, his temperament, nothing. We know he was ugly, but that doesn't help us with anything. You see, we can assume that the village hidden in the mist was created much in the same way as the village hidden in the sand. For those of you who haven't seen my The Worst Village in Naruto video, essentially the way that the village hidden in the sand was created is that the first Kaze Kage rounded up all the nomadic tribes of the desert and brought them under his own roof. He essentially used the looming threat of Konoha's formation and his own strength and his ability to catch Shukaku to bring everybody together to live in one village. And while obviously Byakuren didn't catch his own tailed beast, it's widely assumed that he used his strength and intellect to bring all of the people that lived in the various islands around the Land of Water together in the village hidden in the mist. You see, because the Land of Water is 8 islands, 6 of which that are kind of small, 1 that is really small, and then 1 big main one. It's kind of like Hawaii. And while there's nothing wrong with being an island culture, in fact, it's good because it makes you hard to invade. In the ninja world, it's not particularly advantageous. Climate-wise, the Land of Water is incredible. It's got a bunch of really green trees, a ton of water, obviously. You could imagine it would be good for growing crops and sustaining life. And in fact, we know that growing things is easy in the Hidden Mist because on the tops of every building in the Hidden Mist, there's greenery growing. The fact that they're quite literally able to have urban gardens on top of their buildings points in a good direction for agriculture. But isn't this a video about how this is the worst place to live in the Narutoverse? Yes, so why am I giving it points? Because that's pretty much where the good things stop. So let's touch back on what I meant when I said that being an island in a ninja society wasn't advantageous. You see, just because the Land of Water might be good at growing trees doesn't mean that they can base their entire economy around that. The Land of Water has to find something to sell to keep their economy afloat. And even though they were founded by somebody who was hyper intelligent, they never became a manufacturing hub or a technology hub. But one thing that they did do particularly well was make powerful ninja. And that's fantastic because in the ninja world, having powerful ninja is not only good for war, but it's also good for peacetime. You see, a large part of the economy for any ninja village is ninja work. Essentially, smaller villages will hire you to send your ninja to their village to help protect them from something or fix something or basically any odd job. And the stronger your ninja are, the higher level of mission they can take on, which brings the village more money. So once again, kind of feels like I'm heading in a point for the Hidden Mist, but I'm not. You see, because even though the Hidden Mist has a lot of strong ninja, those strong ninja are really far from everything. And they're also really far from any small village that would need their help. You see, we never see anything in terms of like a high-speed boat until Boruto. We see like simple canoes and sailboats in Naruto, but there is no like ferry or anything like that, which means that if any of the small villages on the mainland want ninja from the Hidden Mist to help them with their tasks, they have to basically ship them from the Hidden Mist all the way over to the mainland on a sailboat or a canoe. Now, we don't necessarily have the Naruto map to scale, but there is a fairly large distance of ocean between the Hidden Mist and the mainland. This kind of trip takes time, and a lot of the requests that you get for ninjas are not something that can be waited for. On top of that, the two nations closest to the Hidden Mist are the Land of Fire and the Land of Lightning, which are easily and without argument the two strongest villages in Naruto. So not only is the Hidden Mist far from all of the small villages that would need their help on the mainland, the two villages that are closest to those villages that would be asking the Hidden Mist for help are not only the strongest, but also the cheapest. So there is quite literally zero reason to reach out to the Hidden Mist for help with ninjas at all, which means that the Hidden Mist now not only had no manufacturing or technological advancements, they also had no ninja economy, which actually perfectly explains how they became the village they were. You see, when a place has no technological advancements, very little agriculture, and nobody giving them money for tasks, well, they're gonna resort to one thing and one thing alone. That one thing is plundering. We can look at Vikings in the real world for that. You see, Vikings grew up in a relatively barren place in society that very much pushed the strongest to the top. So because Viking warriors were so powerful, they were able to go elsewhere and plunder those places for their wealth and then bring that back to their own country. And this is kind of the place that the Hidden Mist became. You see, Byakuren either died shortly after the founding of the Hidden Mist village or during the First Great Shinobi World War. You see, this part of the Hidden Mist village's history is incredibly hazy to us. No pun intended. Technically, we don't even know if the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist were founded yet. See, we're only technically aware of two generations of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. There's the generation that Might Dai fought and killed the majority of, and then the generation after that, which was referred to as the strongest generation of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. I mean, obviously we can assume that the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist existed before the generation that fought Might Dai, but we just don't know for sure. The reason I bring this up is because we don't know the full military might of the Land of Water in the First Great Shinobi World War. We do know, however, that the Mist got absolutely shafted in the Tailed Beast split up. Yes, the Hidden Mist did get Isobu, who is one of the stronger Tailed Beasts. He has incredible defensive capabilities in his shell and is able to curl himself up in a ball that he can roll at people at high velocities to basically kill them instantaneously. However, for their other Tailed Beasts, they got Seiken, the Six Tails, who is a slug with the ability to blow bubbles. Seiken, even though it has 6 tails, is easily the weakest of all of the tailed beasts. And while just the simple act of having 2 makes you believe that the Hidden Water probably got it better off than the Sand, who only got 1 in Shukaku, may not be correct. When it boils down to it, the feats we've seen from Shukaku versus the feats we've seen from Isobu and Seiken, Shukaku actually might be stronger than both of them combined. Specifically when you take into account the fact that Shukaku has Magnet Release. A Magnet Release that Naruto used to quite literally bind Madara. While a lot of the other tailed beasts had their own Kekka Genkais like Magnet Release, Boil Release, Lava Release, or giving their Jinchuriki the ability to fly, like with Chome, the 7 tails, neither Seiken nor Isobu conferred any particularly cool or unique ability to their Jinchuriki. I mean, yes, Utakata could blow bubbles, but who is that helping? The argument that Shukaku was more helpful for the Hidden Sand also makes a lot more sense when you consider the fact the only reason that people in the Hidden Sand are able to control gold dust or iron sand or sand in the first place is because of their research they did on Shukaku's ability to control sand. So in terms of what the villages got out of their tailed beasts, I'd say the Hidden Sand got significantly more out of Shukaku than the Hidden Mist got out of either Seiken or Isobu. That's basically all we know about the military might of the Hidden Water going into the First Great Shinobi World War. And we don't know a lot about the First Great Shinobi World War except for those who died in it. You see, Byakuren, like I said earlier, either died before it or died during it. Byakuren was very old at the first 5 Kage Summit, so the possibility that he died before it isn't insane. But we know that he died during it or before it because the second Mizukage, Gengetsu Hozuki, died during the First Great Shinobi World War. How do we know this? Well, because Gengetsu, the second Mizukage, and Mu, the second Tsuchi Kage, killed each other. They killed each other during a war. We don't know during which war specifically. But when both Gengetsu and Mu are brought back during the war arc, they believe that the person who's bringing them back is Tobirama, which leads us to believe that they died before Tobirama because they thought that Tobirama would still be alive to bring them back. You getting the logic? So if Gengetsu and Mu died in a war and before Tobirama, that would have to mean they died in the First Great Shinobi World War, which would mean, just like Konoha, the Hidden Mist, lost 2 Kage in that war. But here's the thing. Tobirama died at the end of the war. If Gengetsu died before Tobirama, that could mean that he died at the beginning of the war or the middle of the war, which would mean that the 3rd Mizukage would still have to deal with the First Great Shinobi World War. The 3rd Mizukage, whose name we do not know, is the person largely responsible for the creation of the foundation of the Blood Mist Village. You see, in the first 5 Kage meeting, every single Kage brought the person who was going to succeed them, except for Byakuren, who brought the 3rd Mizukage. You see, Gengetsu Hozuki, who I've covered when I covered the Hozuki clan, was incredibly powerful and also very likable and very passionate about the Hidden Mist. You see, the Hozuki clan have a Kekka Genkai specific to their clan called Hydrification, which allows them to turn parts of their body into water, effectively making them completely invulnerable to physical attack. That's an insanely powerful ability. It's just like Obito's Kamui without a Sharingan that can eventually go blind. So more likely than not, essentially as Byakuren was dying, he realized that the village would be best if it was left in the hands of Gengetsu and not the 3rd Mizukage. Most likely Byakuren, in his infinite knowledge on his deathbed, realized that the 3rd Mizukage wanted a blood-soaked village that only cared about the strong, while Gengetsu offered the best possible version of the Hidden Mist to the Hidden Mist. Think about Gengetsu becoming Mizukage like if an Uchiha was chosen to be Hokage, because the Hozuki clan was an incredibly powerful and important clan in the Hidden Mist Village. So by electing somebody from that clan to be the leader of the Mist Village, you have now made the strongest clan in the village happy. The only problem is Gengetsu's tenure as Mizukage was about as long as Tobirama's tenure as Hokage. They both inherited a war that would kill them, but Tobirama's death makes sense. Gengetsu's doesn't. Gengetsu and Mu battling in the First Great Shinobi World War makes quite literally no sense. We touched on earlier that the closest villages to the Hidden Mist are the Hidden Leaf and the Hidden Cloud, but if you look at the Naruto map, the Hidden Mist is quite literally as far from the Hidden Stone as you can be. Not only is the Hidden Mist on an island, once you get to the mainland, you would have to march through 6 or 7 small countries if you want to avoid the Land of Fire or the Land of Lightning to get to the Hidden Stone. So why were these 2 countries fighting? I literally cannot wrap my head around it. There's nothing to be gained from either of them by fighting. Because mind you, at this point, the Land of Fire and the Land of Lightning are fighting. That's why Tobirama went up to the Land of Lightning to sign a peace contract where he was jumped by the Gold and Silver brothers, which would mean that the small villages that either the Hidden Stone or the Hidden Mist would have to go through would be a battlefield between the Hidden Fire and the Hidden Lightning. So inherently, the Hidden Mist would have to fight either the Hidden Fire or the Hidden Lightning. And yet, Gengetsu and Mu only hated each other. I mean, they knew of Tobirama's existence and abilities, so there's a solid possibility that they fought Tobirama at some point or another, but they had a long-standing beef that stated they fought multiple times. So the only assumption that I can make is that the Land of Water went all the way around the Land of Lightning to get to the Hidden Stone on a backside port attack, or that the Land of Water wanted to pillage the small villages that were being caught up in the battle between the Land of Fire and the Land of Lightning and happened to bump into the Land of Stone there. Regardless, out of the First Great Shinobi World War, the only thing the Land of Mist got was a lot of dead bodies and dead Kages. Specifically, the dead Kage who was supposed to be their hope for the village. And in my personal headcanon, I believe this is when the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist were founded. The Hidden Mist realized that their military might was not up to snuff with any of the villages they were fighting. And thank God for the Hozuki clan, which allowed them to fight on par with the Hidden Stone, but they had lost the most important person in the Hozuki clan. So now, just like losing the Uchihas, you couldn't depend on the Hozuki clan to defend you, but they had an idea. You see, directly between the Hidden Stone and the Hidden Mist, if you're to take the small village route, is the Land of Iron. See, the Land of Iron is where all of the samurai in the Naruto universe live. I believe that maybe in some of these battles between the Hidden Mist and the Hidden Stone, some samurai were involved. And after seeing the military might of the samurai and their ability to funnel chakra into their blades and how important their blades were to them, they came back with the ideology that Genjutsu, aka blade work, was very important for military might. They might have even kidnapped some of those samurai swordsmiths and forced them to make 7 Swords of the Mist. You see, because we don't know how the 7 Swords of the Mist were created. Like, at all, which is weird considering the fact that the majority of them quite literally defy physics. I mean, one of them is quite literally just an endless scroll of explosive seals that come from nowhere. So how and why were these made? A lot of people attribute it to the third Mizukage because he's a shady character that we know very little about. We literally don't know his name. So the third Mizukage, wanting to increase the military might of his now kind of failing nation, decides to create weapons of semi-mass destruction. And when you think about how the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist are branded in Naruto as a group strong enough to overturn an entire nation by themselves, it kind of makes sense. You see, why would you need a group of ninja capable of overthrowing an entire nation? Well, one, because the Hidden Mist are inherently plunderers, and two, because they were your only military might. So in order to keep their relevance in the world sphere in terms of military might, they made the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist.
But Nick, the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist are incredibly cool. Shouldn't that be points for the Hidden Mist?
Well, not really. See, because the only way you would ever be able to join the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist would A, to be incredibly powerful, but B, to be in the correct caste. What do I mean by be in the correct caste? It's a good question. You see, unlike basically every single other ninja village, the Hidden Mist had a caste system from the second they were founded. For those of you who don't know what a caste system is, essentially it's when a society creates buckets that people fall into. And what bucket you fall into is dictated by a bunch of different terms, but it's largely based on family lineage, influence, money, and power. And while you're probably saying to yourself,
Well, yeah, all society sort of has that.
a caste system dictates that those in different castes don't intermingle, date, marry, any of that. And the Hidden Mist has had that since the very beginning. Now, this isn't information that we learned in the anime or the manga. We actually learned this in Kakashi Hiden, which takes place about 2 years after the war arc, and it's about Kakashi stepping into the role of Hokage. But essentially, Kakashi learns that in the top caste, there is families that originally descended from the first people who moved into the Hidden Mist. So people like the Hozukis or the Hoshikages. In the middle caste, there was families who were allied with the Hidden Mist in previous battles. And then in the lowest caste was those who were defeated in those battles and then annexed into the Hidden Mist. So at the very top, we have those who founded the Hidden Mist. In the middle, we have those who fought alongside the Hidden Mist. And at the bottom, we have those who fought against. But this caste system stays in place. So if many generations ago your family fought against the Hidden Mist, you are still in the lowest caste. And if you are in that lowest caste, you will never become the Mizukage or a Seven Swordsman of the Mist. You need to be from a prestigious family like the Hozuki or the Hoshikage. In fact, if you are part of the lowest caste, you are not only handled with caution around the village, you are given the most dangerous and perilous missions in the village because they don't care if you die. This is to keep the lowest caste occupied, but also to stop them from revolting. You know what they say, an idle mind is the devil's playground. So now we have a village of plunderers who just lost their golden child from the top caste. And the village was handed over to a maniacal sociopath who wanted to create 7 mystical swords to allow his swordsmen to plunder small villages for their wares. But the hits don't stop rolling there, because with the rolling in of the third Mizukage began the founding of the Blood Mist Village. Yay, we got there finally! You see, the story of the Blood Mist Village is actually a bit different in the manga than it is in the novels. See, in the manga, we get a sort of overview of what was thought to be the Blood Mist Village and how it acquired that name. But the novels paint a slightly more detailed view of what the Blood Mist Village was like. You see, we found out that it gained the name of the Blood Mist Village because in the Shinobi Academy in the Hidden Mist, aspiring shinobi had to kill each other in order to become a shinobi. And only those who survived killing their fellow shinobi were ever able to become a shinobi. But this seems wasteful. I mean, a lot of those shinobi could be relatively promising. There could have just been a genius in their class who killed them all. And it was actually the novels that told us that this wasn't necessarily what happened. Yes, there was children killing children in the Shinobi Academy to become shinobi, but it wasn't all of the children. No, it was actually just the lowest caste. See, if you belonged to the highest caste or the middle caste, you didn't have to kill or be killed to become a shinobi. You could just go about the Shinobi Academy like a regular person. But if somebody from the lowest caste wanted to become a shinobi, all of them were kind of thrown into a room, and those who came out alive got to become shinobi. Now, this system was implemented by the third Mizukage. You see, because a lot of people falsely attribute the creation of the Blood Mist Village to Yagura and Obito, or even to Madara. The thing is, Yagura didn't become the Mizukage until after the conclusion of the Third Great Shinobi World War, and things were very bloody before that. You see, because at some point during the third Mizukage's reign, Madara dipped his finger into the Hidden Mist Village. You see, essentially, Madara began to secretly manipulate Hidden Mist events. Madara essentially saw the weakness in the desperation of the Hidden Mist Village and thought it was the perfect place for him to start making plans. Specifically plans on how to get Obito to be on his side. You see, because during the Third Great Shinobi World War, it was believed that the Hidden Mist kidnapped Rin and then planted Isobu inside of her as a plot. But in reality, this was a plot formulated by Madara, and this plot was devised in order to get Obito to be allegiant to Madara. But after Rin is kidnapped, Kakashi is sent to get her back, and once Kakashi gets her back, the Hidden Mist sends a group of shinobi after it. However, this group of shinobi is entirely for looks. You see, the Hidden Mist wanted Rin to be taken back, and then upon Rin's return to Konoha, Isobu would crash out of her and destroy a majority of Konoha while the Hidden Mist invaded. She was, in effect, a Trojan horse. However, Rin knows this, and therefore when Kakashi saves her, she asks Kakashi to kill her. However, since the Jinchuriki of Isobu is now dead, Isobu pseudo-dies. Essentially, if the Jinchuriki dies, the chakra of the tailed beast essentially just reforms somewhere else. And once Isobu reforms somewhere else, the Hidden Mist recaptures him and puts him in Yagura. This was most likely done because Yagura was a powerful and strong member of a first caste family, that family being the Karatachis. And as a member of an upper caste family, and now the Jinchuriki of the more powerful of the two tailed beasts that the Hidden Mist has, Yagura was elected to be the fourth Mizukage. We don't know if this is because the third Mizukage died or what. Like I said earlier, we know very little about him. But we do know a lot about Yagura, specifically how bad his reign was for the Hidden Mist. But here's the thing, the bloodiness of his reign was not necessarily his fault. Yagura was never a good guy. He came from an upper caste family, he had Isobu planted in him when he was very young, he was set up for failure. However, a short time after Madara's death, Obito decided to put Yagura under Genjutsu. You see, Obito blamed the Hidden Mist for Rin's death. I mean, he also blamed Kakashi, but Kakashi was harder to get to. So Obito put Yagura under a Genjutsu so complete, Yagura didn't even know he was under Genjutsu. In fact, this Genjutsu is so similar to Kodowa Matsukame that Tsunade pondered if Obito and Shisui were related. Now, the Genjutsu that Obito put Yagura under wasn't like he was constantly seeing crows or he was in Tsukiyomi. Genjutsu just trumped up Yagura's worst side and also made him listen to Obito. Essentially, Obito's whole goal was to destroy the Hidden Mist from the inside out. Obito made Yagura trump up how much blood was required in the Shinobi Academy. Children now from all caste systems were being forced to kill each other in the academy. Obito also forced Yagura to bring people into his upper ranks that Obito knew were corrupt. And therefore, as time progressed, the upper caste of the Hidden Mist became heavily corrupted and power hungry, which caused them to look even further down upon the lower castes and exploit and plunder from those in their very own nation when prior it had only been something they did to other nations. Because of this, defection became a widespread pandemic in the Hidden Mist. In fact, defection from the Hidden Mist became so common that the Hidden Mist had to make its own section of the Anbu called Hunter Ninjas, or Hunter Nin, whose entire job was to hunt down people who had defected from the Hidden Mist. And defectors weren't just people from the lower castes. No, in fact, many members of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist who resided in the highest caste and Udakata, the Jinchuriki of the Six-Tailed Saiken, all defected. These were important upper caste people who were leaving the village in droves. In fact, the practices of the village got so bad that one year in the Ninja Academy, Zabuza killed the entire graduating class. And the craziest bit about this is Zabuza wasn't a student in the Ninja Academy yet. Essentially, in order to show that he himself was valuable and powerful, he killed an entire graduating class of shinobi who were older than him. Shinobi who had to kill those around them in order to graduate in the first place. And this earned him the Demon of the Mist title. But because of the blood that Zabuza shed and the way that the village was trending, the academy stopped forcing the students to kill each other. But by this point, point, the Blood Mist Village was already labeled just that, the Blood Mist Village, and the reputation of the 4th Mizukage was cemented. Ironically, Zabuza, the person who spilt more blood than any other aspiring shinobi in all of the Blood Mist Village, was the first person to speak out against it. Many years after Zabuza became the Demon of the Mist and the Ninja Academy changed its rules, Zabuza actually led a coup against Yagura. This coup was actually done specifically to kill Yagura, because Zabuza and a lot of people in the Hidden Mist Village felt like the Blood Mist Village was happening because of Yagura. And to a small degree, they were correct. It was happening because of Yagura, but Yagura was doing it because of Obito. Unfortunately, this coup failed, and we actually didn't know why it failed until Shikamaru Hiden. In Shikamaru Hiden, we learned that Zabuza's coup failed because one of his men betrayed him. But here's the thing, their coup failing technically was a good thing, because if you remember, Yagura wasn't really the problem here. And in fact, after Zabuza's coup failed, Ao, who was a hunter nin as part of the Anbu and fought a Hyuga and killed them and then stole one of their Byakugan, returned to the village. We believe Ao fought a Hyuga clan member during the Third Great Shinobi World War, and that's where he acquired his Byakugan. Regardless, Ao has always been a day one for the Hidden Mist Village. That's why he was a hunter nin. You have to really love your village to specifically join the group of people who only hunt people who have defected. However, when Ao returns with the Byakugan, which he cannot deactivate because it is not his own Kekka Genkai, upon looking at Yagura, he realizes that his chakra network is disrupted. And it's at that point that Ao realizes that Yagura is under Genjutsu and is finally able to break him out of it. However, nobody is able to ascertain where that Genjutsu came from. And after Yagura was broken out of this Genjutsu, he became a better person, but unfortunately he didn't have a whole lot of time to be that better person. Unfortunately, while he was under Genjutsu, there had been so many defections from the upper ranks that the only sword left of the 7 swords of the mist was the split sword. All other 6 swords had gone with defectors from the 7 swordsmen of the mist. Because all of them had defected, the only person left was Chojuro, and obviously the organization fell apart. But if none of that is enough to convince you that you don't want to live in the Hidden Mist, there's also a couple of other internal conflicts that happened over the duration of the Hidden Mist's history. For those of you who remember OG Naruto fondly, you'll also probably remember what is a lot of people's favorite character from OG Naruto, Kimimaru. And if you remember Kimimaru or you like Kimimaru, you'll remember his backstory. See, Kimimaru came from a clan called the Kaguya clan, and some people in the Kaguya clan were born with an ability called Shikatsumyaku, also known as the ability to grow bones out of their body. Kimimaru could go so far as to pull his spine out of his own back and use it as a sword, or to shoot bones out of his fingertips like bullets. Kaguya clan were far-off descendants of Kaguya, and therefore were bloodlusted, crazy human beings. And the only thing that the Kaguya clan wanted in life was battle. Well, the Kaguya clan was also located in the Land of Water. However, as the era of shinobi advanced, the Kaguya clan did not get behind the movement. And as they saw the power gap start to increase between them and the Hidden Mist Village, which is the closest representation of ninja culture, well, they got a little angry. So one day, without any planning or regard for human life, they invaded the Hidden Mist. And while at first the invasion went very well for them because the Hidden Mist wasn't expecting it, the Hidden Mist got collected and killed every single one of them, except Kimimaru. This wasn't the Land of Water's only squabble with those who had Kekka Genkai. In fact, those who had Kekka Genkai, specifically clans who had Kekka Genkai in the Land of Water, are often frowned upon. Actually, frowned upon isn't even the right word. They're often murdered. If you remember Haku in the Yuki clan story, they had an ice Kekka Genkai. Essentially, they were able to create and control ice. And because of this Kekka Genkai and how powerful it was, they were incredibly efficient and powerful in war. However, regular shinobi didn't like that. Regular shinobi were intimidated by their Kekka Genkai, and therefore, oftentimes, those who came from the Yuki clan or any clan that had a clan-specific Kekka Genkai would get murdered just for being from the clan, and therefore the Yuki clan had to separate. You see, the Yuki clan still exists. There's still people out there with the Ice Kekka Genkai, but they don't use it anymore because they're afraid they'll get murdered in the Land of Water. And you could say,
Nick, well, this same thing happens with the Uchihas in Konawae.
And while the sentiment is similar, they're very different. You see, the Uchihas got killed because Danzo thought they were a threat. More specifically, because Danzo saw brewing unrest in the Uchihas and decided to cut out the growth before it turned into a tumor. The Yuki clan were murdered because they were too helpful in battle, which is insane when you think about the fact that the Hidden Mist is a plundering group of power-hungry individuals trying their best to destroy other nations to survive on their wealth. Yet, They're killing the people with a Kekka Genkai that can help you achieve those goals. But like I said earlier, the Blood Mist Village was on its way out. Specifically, Yagura was on his way out. Juzo and Itachi were sent to the Hidden Mist Village to grab Yagura. And while Yagura is strong enough to kill Juzo, he's not strong enough to kill Itachi. And for that, we cannot fault him. However, after the death of Yagura, the 5th Mizukage takes over, Mai. And with the 5th Mizukage, the Blood Mist Village starts to enter the rear view. See, I think the Mist Village was the worst village to live in for a long time. However, after Mai takes over, it quickly becomes actually one of the better villages. So Mai begins to reform internal policies, like, hey, we don't kill children anymore, and tries to change the broad image of the Hidden Mist Village to an open-minded country. People believe that the Akatsuki, who are going around nabbing Jinchuriki and have already grabbed both of the Hidden Mist Jinchuriki, was founded in the Hidden Mist. So Mai has to go to a 5 Kage summit and tell everybody that the Akatsuki was not formed in the Hidden Mist, and that she will go so far as to join the Shinobi Alliance against the Akatsuki. And then after the Akatsuki in the 4th Great Shinobi World War I, the Hidden Mist image is kind of redeemed. But it wouldn't be until the 6th Mizukage, Chojuro, was elected that the Hidden Mist would find its economy finally. Modernization was achieved through a collaborative effort of Chojuro and Mai. In fact, the Hidden Mist became so modernized that it's actually more modern than Konoha. In just about a decade after the 4th Great Shinobi World War, the Hidden Mist has achieved technological advancement and become a tourism hub. Remember when I said they're similar to Hawaii? That's because they are, in both being an island and temperate-wise. And therefore, they've become a very hot spot for tourism in the Naruto world, which is weird to think about, but it's true. On top of that, they've managed to retrieve the 6 blades that were lost to defection. This was kind of mostly done by Suigetsu, but that's neither here nor there. Because they now have all 7 Swords of the Mist, they were able to reinstate the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. And because of the modernization and the tourism money, the Hidden Mist has actually become an incredible place to live, filled with very happy people. But it's kind of like Germany post-World War II, where the majority of the population looks very sourly on their past. But there is a small group of people who want it to be the way that it was. But fortunately, those people got washed by Genin, so we don't really have to worry about them. And just like that, we have the entire history of the Mist Village. I genuinely think the Mist Village represents one of the more interesting arcs in Naruto. How a village founded with good intentions can turn evil in the face of some unfortunate events, and then can refine its way to good through collaborative effort. I think the Hidden Mist speaks to the human spirit more than any other village in Naruto. And that's why I was super excited to make a video about it today. If you're super excited about watching this video, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that notification bell. Listen, I'm not saying I would want to live in the Hidden Mist now, but I feel like it's the only place I would get to surf.